The first round of All-Star results are in, and several Astros are in the top 5 and the top 6. One young player is in the top 5, and it's a surprise. We're going to talk about the great backstop debate that everybody's talking about and talk a little bit about the Astros series with the Nationals. Let's cover this and more on Locked On Astros.
Alvarez hits a high drive center field. Beer leans back. This game is turned upside down. There's the runner. Fly ball down the right field line. Tucker comes on. Kyle Tucker. This time they finish the job.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Huysman and Brett H-Town Wheelhouse Chancey.
We are Locked On Houston Astros, and we hope that you join us for a daily Locked On Astros podcast. My name is Eric Huysman. You find me on Twitter at Eric Talks Astros. You can find the show at Locked On Astros, your team every day. Brett, where can I find you at?
They can find me at H-Town Wheelhouse on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. They can find me at Stros411 on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Always positive, always Stros.
Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. And guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day. Whether it's on YouTube or Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you make us your first listen every day, become an everyday or just somebody that listens to us every day. So that's awesome. And we had an off day for the players. And I know us as fans, we love to watch baseball, but the players enjoyed after 17 straight games. They enjoyed the day off. So what do we have to talk about today? Well, we're going to talk about the All-Star balloting and who's going to possibly go on to the next round. Also, there's been a lot of talk about what's going on between should we be starting Martin Maldonado or Yainer Diaz. So let's go and talk about that as well. Look a little bit ahead towards the National Series, and in our third segment, we'll talk about the hot takes tweets segment, and then some more Astros news and some news across baseball. But thank you once again for joining in, and Brett, great to see you again, and let's go and get the show on the road because it looks like as of right now, the only Astro that's in line to start the All-Star game would be Yordan Alvarez.
Yeah, and I think that makes sense with where Yordan Alvarez is with what he's doing on this season, even though right now he's on the IL. Hopefully he'll be healthy by then. I know there are people thinking, well, can we just have him skip the All-Star break so he can be healthy for October? But Yordan Alvarez definitely deserves to be the most popular vote getter on this team because of what he's done. He has really gained a respect, not just in Houston, but across the league. And I think his numbers prove that. So a couple positions that we're going to go to first that we're going to look at some surprises. We're going to look at catchers first, because that's going to be kind of a hot button issue in the second segment. And then we're going to look at outfielders, actually DH, because there's one Astro on there that I've actually voted for every time just because I love the kid. But let's look at catchers, Eric. And I know there's some people that are shocked. You have Adley Rutschman, which that's not a shock. Jonah Heim, Salvador Perez, Alejandro Kirk, Martin Maldonado. Martin Maldonado is over Cal Riley, Christian Bethancourt, Matt Thaiss, Jose Trevino, and Yasmani Grandal. Now, look, make no bones about it. I don't think a lot of people think that Martin Maldonado is even the best catcher on this team. But people are like, how is he fifth? Look, you got to understand something about the All-Star vote. And Eric, I know you know this, and I believe most of our fans know this. A lot of times it's a popularity contest, right? And I'm wondering if some of this talk and discord about Maldonado is kind of fueling the flames for people to vote for him as American League catcher, because I'll be real honest, I voted for Adley Rutschman because I think the kid's an absolute stud. I think he's a great player, and I think he deserves the All-Star nod, especially having a decent year on a very good Orioles team. What do you think? I mean, Martin Maldonado fifth, do you think he'll stay there? Do you think he'll drop?
Well, I think only the top four go on to the next round. Right. So he could stay at fifth. I think that this is more has to do with the fact that the Astros won the World Series. There's a lot of name familiarity. They just saw these guys play last year. So that's possibly why. We also know Astros fans like to get out and support their team. And especially once you start seeing these polls come out, some of the results, you're going to see some more people go out and start voting. So I think what you're seeing right now is just name recognition. And there's not outside of the Orioles catcher, there's just not a lot of big name guys out there at the catcher's position. Catcher is a very weak position, and we've been talking about that for years. So if you have a quality catcher, I mean, you're lucky.
That's all right. So let's look at the DH, because I think this is interesting. DH, look who is number 4. Number 4 is none other than the Friendswood kid, the Clearbrook High School alumni, and Corey Julks. If Corey Julks, you would have told him in the spring training that he would be over Miguel Cabrera and Justin Turner and Giancarlo Stanton for designated hitter voting, he probably would have said there's no way. Now, of course, there's a huge chasm between Ohtani and Brendan Belt. But, Eric, I think this field is kind of wide open. And if Julks has enough hometown heroes in his backyard, he may have enough people that could catapult him to a surprise spot on the All-Star team. And look, you can't deny it. He's had a really good year. He doesn't even play every single day. But what do you think about that? I think Julks being there is kind of a surprise, but I think that's a little bit of respect too for him.
I think it's kind of I don't think he's going to make it. I think he's way too far behind. I mean, is he going to move on? Yes. But I think the recognition of the fact of what he's done, but I just don't think he's going to get in. I mean, but Shohei Ohtani is definitely going to get voted in, and that's why the Astros decided to go ahead and list him as a outfielder this year, so he has a chance to get in instead of DH, because everybody's going to vote for Shohei Ohtani, and everybody's like, well, why aren't Yankees fans like supporting Stanton there?
Right.
Well, he's not having a great year, and he always gets hurt. So they're like, well, we love Shohei Ohtani, and maybe if we vote for him, he'll come play for us next year, that type of thing. So I just go ahead.
No, yeah. I just, I mean, Shohei's chasm. I mean, we're going to look at these other positions real quickly, but yeah, nobody has as many votes as he has. Second base, it's no surprise that you have Jose Altuve. Oh my gosh, that is not the right one. That is not this year's. That is not this year's All-Star vote. That was, let's go to third base, and I'll try to find the right second base one. I don't know how that got up there.
Yeah, so Matt Chapman probably got a lot of voting early, especially with the hot start he got up to where he was batting 400. His numbers have come down a little bit, but he is a Gold Glove third baseman. Josh Jung is having a great year over with the Rangers. A lot of people are probably going to be voting for the Rangers because Rangers are not normally this good. Rafael Devers, he's always somebody that is going to generate a lot of votes. Alex Bregman, of course, Astros fans are going to be voting for him, and a lot of people across baseball probably are not going to be voting for him because he's one of the leftovers from 2017. But I'm kind of surprised to see Jose Ramirez so far down this list. But that's just a surprise for me. But and Anthony Rendon so high on this list.
Exactly. And, you know, that right there rounds out the third baseman. I'll get the correct second baseman up here in a second. First baseman, look at this. Jose Abreu is 6th. It's a little bit of a shocker considering all the hatred that a lot of people have thrown his way here in Houston and the slow start. But, you know, people in Houston are going to vote for their guys. People in Toronto are going to vote for their guys. And so it looks like Jose Abreu is there, but I don't think he'll be there in the end, kind of like you're talking about these other guys. What do you think about this list real quick?
It's a tough matchup between Guerrero and Diaz. I know Diaz is having a great season with the Rays. The Rays are one of the best teams in baseball, if not the best team. But Guerrero is always going to be up there because of name recognition and also what he could do with baseball. So I think that that's going to be a tough matchup between the two of them. They're probably both going to get in, honestly. But who's going to be the starter, I think it's probably going to end up being Guerrero Jr. just because of his name.
No, yeah, definitely. And, like I said, a lot of times this has a lot to do with popularity and things like that. But you like to see some of these guys getting recognition, even though they may not make it. So here's second base, and this is just a top five. Marcus Semien, Jose Altuve, Whit Merrifield, Gleyber Torres, Brandon Drury. Now, Eric, every time I voted for second base, Altuve is my favorite player of all time, but I voted for Mauricio Dubon because I feel like he deserves it. And people may say, oh, there's no way he's a better second baseman. It's not about that. It's about what he's been able to step up and do. I hope that Mauricio Dubon does at least show up in the top 10 because Jose Altuve said he's voting for him.
Right. Yeah, and I think that it's going to take a lot to get write-in votes. This is not a household name. I mean, in Houston, he's a little bit more of a household name, but across baseball. But I think that there's a chance you may see him as a reserve because this is a guy that's having a career year for stepping up for somebody that probably is one of the best second basemen in baseball. So I think that Jose Altuve saying that he'll vote for him, that does say something. So we'll talk about the outfielders and some of the other what else is going around in second. But this episode is brought to you by Game Time.
Yeah, Game Time is the great place to go. And whether you have experience with Game Time or it's your first time, I'm telling you, it's stress-free. It's fast and easy. It's the best way to buy tickets for music, comedy, theater, just anything. With killer deals on last-minute tickets, their best price guarantee, you can stop stressing over it. You don't have to worry about it. I mean, getting hyped about the fun you'll have is second to none with this. It is easy to find and buy tickets for every kind of event, lowest price guaranteed, event cancellation protection, job loss protection, etc. You don't have to plan for months. The Game Time guarantee is this: you'll always get the best price. And if you find tickets in the same section or row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% the difference. Put money back in your pocket to buy more tickets. Get images of your seats before you buy. Know exactly what to expect when you arrive. The tickets come to you in a matter of seconds. 2 taps and you're set. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed. And the Astros play the Nationals Tuesday night. We're going to be talking about that in the third segment at 7:10 p.m. Central Standard Time. Catch every pitch of the Astros hometown broadcast with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Search Astros. So, Eric, we're going to round this out. We're going to look at shortstop, and then we're going to look at outfield, and then we will move on to the great backstop debate. At shortstop, not a surprise here.
No
Bo
brainer.
Bichette.
Yeah.
I mean, look, Corey Seager's having a career year. Wander Franco is a phenomenal. Look, the shortstop position is absolutely stacked in the American League. Javi Baez, I don't know, he belongs in the top 10. Chris Castellani does not have a lot of good things to say about that guy. But Peña's fourth. Look, Peña's had a good year. I don't know that he's had a great year, but he hasn't been bad either. He started to pick things up offensively. Do you think Peña eventually finds his way into the All-Star game?
Yeah, I think he needs to find a little bit more consistency. Like what we saw in the playoffs last year and at the end of the year, I think, yes, he would become an everyday player. But Bo Bichette is one of the best players in game. And then you had a couple other guys. I see that Volpe is on that list too. He's got some stolen bases. Yes, he's got a few home runs, but his batting average last time I checked was below 200. So, but I think he's getting a lot of Yankee votes there. But shortstop is kind of you've got the top maybe echelon of I think Peña is fourth. So he is in the top 4 of shortstops. I do agree with that. But I just wish he would just have some more consistency like we saw at the end of the season. And I think with time, I think the league is starting to kind of figure him out. Now what we're seeing recently is him trying to readjust to the league. And I think that with time, he'll be fine. Yeah,
definitely. And so let's go ahead and round this out before we talk about the backstops here. The outfield, Aaron Judge, Mike Trout, Yordan Alvarez. Again, you had mentioned that earlier that he's third. Randy Arozarena is pretty close. Kevin Kiermaier with the new team is fifth. Then Adolis Garcia, former Astros, George Springer. I'll move down the list. All the way to number 14 is Kyle Tucker. I understand that because outside of Houston, he's not ultra popular. And Jake Myers comes in at 19. So it's nice to see Jake Myers get some recognition for the year that he's having. Jared, Clinic of the Mariners is having a bounce back comeback year. But Adolis Garcia, George Springer, they could make a charge because they're part of the – I'm surprised there's not – the Rangers players aren't higher because of how good they're doing. But Tucker, I just don't know that he makes it into that all-star bracket. Yordan Alvarez definitely makes it. Jake Myers might make a move, but Yordan might be one of the few all-stars. But, Dusty is the manager, so he also gets to make a few picks, I think. Doesn't he get to pick the reserve for the team?
No, I believe the players and
the players. I bet you. So, do you think it'll be Dubon if he doesn't make it? Do you think he's our reserve player?
We'll see. I think that there's a lot to be decided. Like they have to make sure all teams are represented, and then I think the players vote and they decide. So from there, so I think that they have the players vote typically.
You mean the players?
They have like a final vote for the fans or something, and so.
But I thought the managers also got to pick. I thought the All-Star manager got to. He gets to pick the starter of the All-Star game, pitching wise. So
I think
looking at.
I think the GMs and like there's we'll have to look at it for next show, but I know they've changed some of the rules in the past few years with the collective bargaining agreement. But it's not like Dusty just sits there and says, "Yeah, I want this guy, this guy, this guy." So there's a little bit more to it. So it's just not him picking all Astros.
Yeah.
So, but So I think Jake Myers, I mean, yes, he's had a great season on there, but that just shows that a lot of people do go straight ticket Astros. And that's why Martin Maldonado is on there. And I think that some people, as much as they complain about Maldonado and him not hitting, they're just loyal Astros fans. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with when you go vote, you vote for what you believe in. And a lot of people vote for the Astros. And so that's fine. But if to get votes outside of Houston, you have to perform. And the Astros have not been the same team like they were last year.
Yeah.
The players have not been the same. And I think that Alvarez, he may slip a little bit because of this injury. So Astros fans, you still need to get out there and vote for him. This may be our one opportunity to have a starting player in the All-Star game.
Exactly. And, so I think you're going to see a few Astros in there. Maybe we should do it. I would love to do a Corey Julks campaign, like get Julks to the All-Star game. That would be kind of fun. I might think about I might kind of spearhead that from my end. But the great backstop debate. Ryan Presley was on the radio this morning on the bench with Jeremy and his co-host. Both him and John, I believe, were both talking about Maldonado. They're like, how valuable, or why is Maldonado so valuable to this team? And Presley basically said the guy, when he's on the plane, he's got 2 laptops and everybody's asleep. He's studying. He goes, when you have a game plan for a hitter and something changes, he instantly knows how to adjust and how to change. And he said both catchers are excellent competitors, but Martin Maldonado, I think, because he's such a veteran. Look, I think if Maldonado and Diaz were at the same tenure in their career, they were at the same place, that Diaz would be playing more than Maldonado. I just think this is a veteran thing. I think this is a player trust thing. And I think this is the Astros aren't ready to hand the keys of the catching car to Diaz. So I'm going to say this and hand it off to you. I think sometimes the debate gets lost, and I understand there is statistical analysis that shows that Diaz has better stats, but I don't think that's where the debate begins or ends with the Houston Astros. What do you think, Eric?
So what you're saying is it goes beyond just what he does at the plate. It has a lot to do with what he offers to the pitchers, and it's more than his 186 batting average with 3 home runs, 8 RBIs, OPS plus of 53, which is not good, compared to Yainer Diaz, who's batting 274, OPS of 758, a OPS plus of 106 with 3 home runs and 8 at-bats. So let's compare plate appearances. Martin Maldonado has 166. Yainer Diaz has 92. So I know that he's got a lot more starts as a catcher, but I think that what you're going to see a little bit more of is maybe not Diaz becoming the everyday guy, but once people start getting healthy, like I believe we got some good reports on Michael Brantley. We'll talk about that soon. But once people start getting healthy, once Alvarez is back, and let's say Yainer Diaz just goes on his hot streak, you're going to have to find a place for him to play, because with the team sputtering with offense like it is, you got to get him some playing time. And Martin Maldonado, he's not been perfect this year defensively too. And
Right.
I know that he is the pitcher whisperer, or whatever you want to call him. He is the leader, but he can be just as much of a leader in the clubhouse. Hey, Yainer, come here. This is what you did wrong. So he can do that from the clubhouse, from the dugout too.
And that's where a lot of people are. And, again, I've never argued that. I mean, because you're here with me every show, that I've said I think Diaz deserves a larger piece of the pie. He deserves a larger split. And if you just look at like what he's doing lately, I mean, in May, Eric, he is batting. What is he batting right now? I'm sitting here looking. He's actually, is that right? He's hitting 235. I thought he was hitting since May 1st. Yeah. Look at his stats from May 1st on. I know his OPS is, pretty high. I know he's gotten a ton of hits. But I really like what this guy says, and I don't know who it is. It's a guy that I follow that he calls himself Astros Stats, and he says the Maldonado discourse is interesting to me. On one hand, I understand the criticism, especially from the offensive value standpoint. That said, the value he brings behind the scenes is undeniable, also difficult, if not impossible to quantify. Then I basically say, hey, look, it's not that Maldi is the better one. It's that Maldi is the guy. Maldonado is the one that the team trusts. He's got the experience over Diaz. And I'll wrap my point up with this. He says, good point. Game calling, strategy skills, and relationship with the staff also have to grow organically. Diaz will be there sooner or later. Sometimes these things just take a bit of time, whether we like it or not. And I think that too is another thing we have to realize that as fans is, look, we know and we see before us what the evidence is showing us. Diaz has got the 4th or 5th highest OPS on the team. He provides pop where you don't have pop. And I think if this team, Eric, was performing a lot better overall offensively, this wouldn't be such a struggle in the Astros social media communities,
Yeah, so I do have the stats for Yainer Diaz since May 1st, so I'll go and tell you that in a second. And we will go and look ahead towards the National Series. But this episode is sponsored by your local Hooters.
That's right. You and your buddies need a place to watch the Astros remain competitive. That's right. I said competitive. Then go to Hooters. They got TVs everywhere. Webster, Seabrook, Pasadena, Pearland, 3 in the city of Houston, Baytown, Galveston, Stafford, Humboldt, Katy, and Sugar Land. The 4 world-famous Hooters girls are there to serve you and make you happy. That's right. Looking for deals? They've got deals. Monday, they have buy one, get one wings. Tuesdays, $9.99 burger and fries. Wednesdays, buy one, get one boneless wings. Thursday, $19.99 wings and Big Daddy bundle. Thursday, $19.83 crab legs. Saturday and Sunday, kids eat free. And don't forget that if you are in the Sugar Land area, they are doing a Give a Hoot charity golf tournament benefiting the Fee Foundation to help aid in the fight against breast cancer. The tournament is June 15th. Stop by the restaurant to sign up. And then Hooters Pearland is having a 3-on-3 basketball tournament. Bring your buddies on June 24th for a awesome tournament. Sign up at Pearland Hooters. Make sure that when you go there, you tell them that the guys from Locked On Astros sent you. So good brew, great wings, great service, and the world-famous Hooters girls only at your Houston area Hooters. And the Astros do play the Nationals Tuesday night at 7:10 p.m. Central Standard Time. Catch every pitch of the Astros hometown broadcast with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Search Astros.
All right, so let's take a look. Since he didn't play May 1st, I don't know if the Astros didn't play on May 1st, but he didn't play on May 1st. Since May 2nd till June 11th. In 18 games, he has 17 hits, 3 home runs, 6 RBIs. He's batting .304 with the OPS of 859.
I think that's pretty good. It's funny.
It's acceptable.
It's not bad. Now, right. And look, I'm not even going to bring into, most teams don't have an offensive catcher. And I do know that, teams don't go out to get offensive catchers because there's not a ton out there. And you don't depend on your offense. But when you do have a guy, and I think this is where people are frustrated because they feel like you have this guy sitting there and he's proven to you that he deserves to have more playing time. But again, and I keep defaulting to this, the players we've talked to, Eric, the things we've heard, the things we've heard from different, just various people saying he's the captain. And a lot of people don't like that. Presley didn't come out and say he was the captain, but Presley pretty much said he's our guy. Like he's that guy. And so I don't think it's as big of a problem. Now, we get to the All-Star break, Eric, and Maldonado continues to dip, and Diaz continues not to get time once the All-Star break gets here. Then I'm going to wonder, this is my big question. Why or what is the conversation between Dana Brown and Dusty Baker like? What is that about? I mean, what are they talking about?
I don't know. Maybe Dusty Baker has a hot take and Dana Brown can't handle it. He's like, man, that's too hot for me, Dusty. I'm going to have to take that step back. So speaking of which, do you have some hot takes for us?
Yeah. So I was going to show you, I thought this was a great poll. This actually made me laugh. This was when the lineup came out the other day. That was much the debate on Houston radio today. This is from Astros Josh, Astros Twitter poll regarding how do you feel about Dusty's lineup this season? The top option is let him do his job. The second one is I want to scream every day. Only postseason matters, and I don't care. So I thought that was great. And you need to go find that Josh Astros and see what the replies are. They're actually pretty hilarious. I got one fun tidbit for the Astros fans. Dana Brown, who has been interviewed for the – oh, wait, that is not the right one. Did I bring it? Okay, this is the one I wanted to bring up. Sorry. Yainer Diaz was reassigned to Siberia after a 4-game hit game. So I was like, hold up. He was not. I look back. That was actually a pretty funny. Yainer Diaz reassigned to Siberia after a 4-hit game. That's really been the biggest like mind-boggling thing is when Diaz does really good. Whoa, what was that? When Diaz does really good, why does he evaporate from the lineup? So I had some other hot takes. I'm going to try to find them. But Eric, what do you think about Dusty's lineup? What would you answer? Would you answer you don't care? Would you answer it's not October? What would you say?
I mean, I would be like, that must have been fun last night. No, I'm just kidding. I just think that he literally was just like, let's just see what happens. Let's just throw it at the fan and see what happens, see what sticks.
No, you don't. No, you throw spaghetti on the wall. It's when the what hits the fan. No, you don't throw it at the fan because then
it gets all
here's
rolls.
The thing. To make a great point on here, which is kind of funny. Okay, people would say that's what Dusty's doing when he makes a lineup, that he's throwing blank at the fan and just it gets everywhere. Oh man, sorry about that. I had a couple others and I can't find them. I'll do a little bit better on my second Twitter Tuesday. It's our first round. So
all right. So in tomorrow's game, it's gonna be Patrick Corbin, who's having a little bit better success this year. 4-6 with a 4.89 ERA versus Hunter Brown, 5-3 with a 3.69 ERA. If you're looking about who's had success, Chas McCormick in 2 at-bats has a home run, 2 RBIs. Martin Maldonado, your favorite player, is batting 200 with 1 home run. And the rest, and I guess Jose Abreu in 6 at-bats is batting 333 with no home runs or RBIs. But Altuve 167 and 12 at-bats. So he's the one with the most experience against them. So the Astros need to stop this playing down to competition. They need to really play up to the play above the competition and just show them who their daddy is and just really just dominate. And that's what we have to do. But the problem is you're without your daddy right now, and somebody has to step up and do something with the offense. You can't rely on Tucker and Altuve to do it every day. You got to have somebody else. Abreu has been showing some signs, and you've seen some signs elsewhere, but it's got to be a team effort. You can't have one person replace Alvarez, and it's going to take a whole group to do that. And the second game, it's going to be Josiah Gray versus Framber Valdez, and Framber Valdez with his 2.36 ERA to show how inconsistent this offense has been this year. 6-5 record, and that's terrible. But Gray is 4-5 with the 3.0 ERA. So that's game 2, and then game 3, it's going to be Mackenzie Gore, once a top prospect in baseball, will be facing one of the up-and-coming pitchers in baseball, Christian Javier. So that should be an interesting matchup. The Astros just need to at least win 2 of these games, if not more, and just return to the winning ways. But it's not – the pitching has shown signs of weaknesses, but they just got to hit better.
Yeah, they do. I mean, we still got one of the top 5 relief pitching core, top 5 starting core, and it's the bats. The bats have got to show up, and they're coming back home. Abreu, I think, got the monkey off his back, and I really hope that he has a first really hot 3 games back for this fan base, because he deserves to be cheered for, not booed. Whoever's out there in center field, Jake or Chaz, just go out there and mash the ball. Tucker, let's get some home runs on the board. Let's do it for Yordan Alvarez, all right? And
guys, don't forget that the Astros do play Nationals Tuesday night at 7:10 p.m. Central Standard Time. Catch every pitch of the Astros hometown broadcast with SiriusXM. Just download the SXM app and search Astros. And don't forget that we will be doing a post-game show after every game. Hopefully we'll be talking about Astros victory, because not talking about Astros victory is kind of like listening to crickets or something like that. But thank you for tuning in. Thank you for making the Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day. And make sure you become an everydayer, and keep on voting for your all-stars out there. And we'll be back tomorrow for another show after the Astros dominate the Washington Nationals. My name is Eric Huysman. He is Brett Chancey. We are the Locked On Astros podcast, and
bring back Jolkomania, baby. Let's let the Jolkomania run wild on you.